Morning class 12. I'm here again with the subtopic Independent India. Independent India in terms of when we really had, when we really could call India an independent country after the British left, that was after the, election that was contested, okay, in 1951-52. Now, 1951-52, India's general election, the first Indian general election, is known as a landmark in the history of independent India. Okay, now why is it so? Because the Indian general election of 1951-52 that was held on October 25th, 25th of October, held from, not on, from 1951, okay, to the 21st of February 1952. Please have that in mind, children. Okay, the dates, all right, from 51 to 52, and it was the first general election to the Lok Sabha since India became independent in August 1947. Now that becomes a greatest challenge, okay, for independent India. And today we proudly say India as a country that functions, as the largest democratic country, and it proved it so. It proved it so. Why? Because of the challenges that faced in the first a time when they conduct elections, okay, when many countries after your decolonization they started and got independence, they had talked about democracy, okay, but in true sense it was only India who could make India a true democratic country, right? Because even Pakistan, okay, after it was the same time that India got and Pakistan got the independence, and Pakistan also had claimed, okay, to be one of the democratic country, but you see they were military dictators, okay. We did not have an elected government, right? As Lok Sabha we have the elected government. That means it is the people, okay, people that the choice of the people, okay, we vote. So that is what the term universal adult franchise, okay, we have that, right? So elected government, so that was proved then after your first Indian election. But there were a number of challenges, okay, and that is why we call it as a landmark in the history of independent India, right? So you can see independent India, the picture Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Sorry, it is the head has not been seen, but everyone has seen Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and we know it, right, through pictures. So now just having a look at the Constitution of India that was made, okay, under the provision of the Indian Constitution, as we see that was adopted on 26th of November 1949, and elections together. Now, one more point you have to have here is with the general election to the Lok Sabha, okay, we have the forming of the parliamentary form of government. Together with that, we had the election in the state legislatures as well simultaneously, okay. So at the state level and as well as the union level, okay, at the center there were elections, okay, that was being conducted. So if you see the Constitution of India, we all know, okay, as you political science, so legislative powers, executive and judicial, okay, right? Executive, as we all know, power to implement rules. Then you have judicial to interpret rules and laws, okay. Before that we have legislative, that is power to make rules, then rules of selection of people for lawmaking, okay. Then execute, who sees that, okay, the powers, the law that has been made has been carried out. And of course judicial powers, that is to interpret rules and laws. So that was framed according to the Constitution of India, okay, after your independence. So what does it say? According to our country's preamble, okay, to the Constitution, India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. That's there in the preamble, right? So in order to become a democratic republic, okay, you have your head, okay, that is chosen, okay, by the people. It was essential for India democratic republic. I hope children you all know all the meaning of the term that has been specified in the preamble. Of being the political science students, you have to be familiar with all that: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, okay. Now in order to become a democratic republic, what had to India do? It was essential that India, okay, conducts your election in the government, crucial role, that is of conducting election. So then you have the Indian general election 1951-52, held from 25th of October to 21st, as I said. Now this is taken in 62 phases, 62 parts, okay. The election has been taken. So since India becomes independent in August 1947, okay, and it was a real challenge, okay, as you had about 36 crore, okay, people in India, okay, and then you had to, have the logistics, okay. And of course, India was the first country, even the European countries, okay, they bet to be most modern countries, they had not given the women to write, okay, as we later on see the feminist movement, the civil rights movement that takes place in US, okay. So they had not given the right to the women, but India was the first country to give right to women also for election. And your that it was your age was 21. Later on, okay, with the amendment in the constitution, it comes to 18. But then the universal adult franchise at that time, okay, the right to vote was any citizen who attained the age of 21. Okay, so then you can see here the line, but then again, okay, if I go just back to the little bit of your the social structure of India, it being a patriarchal, male oriented society. So women did had, of course, the that was also a greatest challenge, that women, okay, making them a part of the election. But then why? Because they did not have their own identity, okay, so they were associated with, okay, so when the names were given, okay, they said, okay, someone's wife, someone's husband, but they denied to give their own names. But anyways, that was the greatest achievement for India, because they've given the voting right to women as well. Okay, so these are just the pictures for you all to see here. And yeah, the election that takes place, it's 68 phases. And then you can see the clericals, okay, working here for the secret ballot. Okay, they did not have the EMIs that we call as electronic voting machine as we have today. But then at that time they had your secret ballots where your votes had to be counted, taken out. So all these 6,000, okay, we had your not sorry 16,500 clerks. They were appointed on contract basis for 6 months actually, to type and to collate the electoral rolls, okay, and the rims of paper, and that was used for the printing rolls. And after that, again counting the votes. So these are your secret ballots and the clericals, okay, doing their work. So these are all the challenges. The next I have said, the Constitution of India provides for a parliamentary system of government. And we all know what is a parliamentary system of government, headed by your cabinet. Okay, that's Prime Minister. And of course, then you have their cabinet, okay, the Prime Minister, and then you have the cabinet ministers. Okay, now the elections, that is the most important, children. The elections were conducted by an independent constitutional body. It's called the Election Commission of India. Okay, and the first person to conduct that, okay, was Sukumar Sen. Okay, so he was the first election commissioner of India. Okay, so you have to know the name of that, okay, for your general knowledge also as well. For as this answers, for the short questions, is also very important. Okay, and this is also one of the challenges that was faced by Sukumar Sen. So he was the first election commissioner of India. Now, all Indian citizens, as I said, over the age of 21 were eligible to vote. Now, around 85% of the population could not read or write. So that is another greatest challenge, okay, to India's democracy. Okay, but still it is called the landmark, okay, in history of modern India, is because of this, the challenges. 85% illiterate, okay, and to you make them know the meaning of democracy and what is universal adult franchise, okay, that had to be done to train these illiterate people. So therefore it was the greatest challenge for India. So widespread illiteracy posed a challenge to the commission in organizing the election. Okay, now this was overcome by allotting. So how was it solved? Was each candidate differently colored ballot box at the polling booth, okay, at the time, at the place where you go and vote, that's a polling booth. So on which each candidate's name, of course, written. Though were illiterate, who were literate, they could see the name, read the name, but who were not literate, they had to know the symbol. Okay, symbol, you have seen the various political parties, they have the symbols, okay, like our BJP is a lotus, okay, so, and Congress hand. So those are the symbols actually that was made for the illiterate people, right? Now, voters elected 489 members to the lower house, that is the Lok Sabha, okay, the Parliament of India, and these were allotted across 401 constituencies in 25 Indian states. Okay, the parties that contested for 489 seats, that was the seat, now as it's gone to 552, okay. So then it was 489 seats, okay, to get an absolute majority in the Lok Sabha, that is to form the government. Now, Indian National Congress, you see, won the election with 364 votes. Okay, that means it crossed the majority, absolute majority, as we call, the term, right? So they were the one who formed the party, the government. So, of course, they voted for the party which was led by Jawaharlal Nehru, and Communist Party of India, that is CPI, is a party which finished second with 16 seats, as they got about 3.29% votes. Okay, SOC finished third in the elections. This is a socialist party. Okay, in the elections with 10.59% votes and winning 12 seats. Now, as I said, population of India was 36 crore, out of which 17.32 crore population was eligible to vote. Okay, so you had 7.32 crore voters, okay, who were eligible, and all out above 21 years. Okay, the voter turnout for the election was only 45.7%. It is because of the women, okay, folk, although they got the right to vote, but they did not turn up voting. Why? It is because of the patriarchal society that our Indian followed then. Okay, now, so those were your the challenges that was Indian being a democratic country. Of course they had to prove that. Okay, but then for that the election had to be conducted, and that was the problem they faced. And after that, you have the split again in the Congress party. Okay, so we have Shama Prasad Mukherjee, who went on to found the Jan Sangh. Okay, that means they split from the Congress party. And the first law minister, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, also revived the Scheduled Caste Federation, which is later named as a Republican Party. As you know, a very important figure, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, that we had done, who worked for the lower strata of the society, the untouchables that we had done last year, class 11, if you remember, children. Now, other parties which started coming to the forefront, again, the Labour Party, the Kishan Mazdoor Praja Parishad. This is after your the election results, okay, where you have your Congress winning, whose prime mover was Acharya Kripalini, the Socialist Party. And of course we have your Ram Manohar Lohia and Jaya Prakash Narayana. Please, very important children, remember this name, JP. Okay, because later now we have to also to deal with your Jaya Prakash Narayana when there is a fall of Congress. Okay, of course, from 1952 till 72 we have the Congress Party. Okay, it is after your 1975 emergency. Then we have the coming up of the Lok Sabha. I'm going to say your Jay Prakash Narayana's party, Jan Sangh. Okay, so we have to know that. So that's how your leadership to boast of in the Communist Party of India. However, these smaller parties were unable to make any electoral stand against the Indian National Congress. Okay, so the factionalism that starts in Congress, it is after. That means factionalism, division in the Congress. Okay, it starts after your results of the Indian, I'm going to say the first general election of 1951-52, and the first Lok Sabha lasted for the full tenure of 5 years and was dissolved on 4th April 1957. And after 1957 again we have the second term, again your Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru coming. Okay, and after his death in 1964, then again we have Mrs. Indira Gandhi, daughter of your Jawaharlal Nehru, taking in the tenure of Lok Sabha, another for extended for 5 years with her prime ministership, and then only we have the fall of the Congress. Okay, so the first session of this Lok Sabha was commenced on 13th May 1952 after they won the first general election. Okay, children, so please go through it, and tomorrow I'm going to post the challenges that was that was posed, okay, onto the elections. The first general election means what are the challenges, okay, for the first general election.